Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. We are gathered here today to discuss a comprehensive deconstruction of the multifaceted metaphorical nuances underlying a brewed affairs and ode to the AM elixir, with particular emphasis on the dialectical relationship between daily rituals and emotional bonds in the lyrical canon. We are sponsored on kind behalf of Vetis Liberation Enterprises and Center for Studies. And for the pre-analysis section of this presentation, let me introduce myself. I am a electronic musician, teacher, guitarist, a life cycle analyst, a coffee enthusiast, a materials engineer graduate from Federal University of São Carlos, so on. The composition we are about to analyze is a harp and a voice song composition about coffee and love. It describes the passion between two human beings in a relationship. Chosen for the self-evident imperative for analysis, we will cover the song's background and context, a research structure, the cultural, ecological, historical, lyrical, musical, social analysis, and as a disclaimer before we begin, we must certify you that we are not associated with Mrs. Harper, nor have arranged with her any discussions concerning this work of hers. The song was written by Wendy Harper, aka Harper, named Illinois, USA. It was released February 25th of 2021, knowingly rearranged March 12, 2022 for NPR's Tiny Desk submission and lost. The song was dedicated to her husband. The song can be culturally and historically be seen as something important because it reflects the values of the culture. It offers insights into history. We can analyze the cultural identity of the song and the overall cross-cultural references that it imbues in itself as a form of artistic expression. So within musicology, it reveals a cultural evolution. Within cultural studies, it depicts music as this cultural mirror. In literary studies, we explore lyrics as literature, of course, and history reflects societal attitudes. Sociology delves into cultural norms, psychology studies emotional impacts, and marketing analyzes beverage preferences. These overall contribute to globalization studies, and they showcase cross-cultural influences. Within our research, we must question and therefore answer how the chordal, modal, and tonal operations amplify the signs and signifiers lyrically, and how we kind of reinforce the core ineffectual positivity embedded in the economy of rituals. In order to solve the following encounter challenges, first concerning the chord G minor add 9 over A, which we therefore will name the Roadster Harper flat 7 add 2 over 1 reharmonization. From above, from the issue above, we have the 2100 strings issue. Concerning the time within each upload of song, we have the 380 Trieto date gap. From Bataille's and Hans' notions of wasteful ritualistics, with which, of course, we shall discuss later, we are to discuss the positive French, German, Japanese bias. Our methodology consists of the harmonic analysis via circle of fifths, very useful to read about if you are not acquainted with the equal temperament pitch classification, a comparative literary analysis, an inward and also an outward spiral referencing, and of course, a social analytical impact. Our analysis begins by outlining the relevant musical elements to be discussed. Firstly, we can see the melody, namely, after the melody, we have the arrangement, the harmony, and the rhythm. First one, of course, does not develop beyond any chordal arpeggiation throughout tritonics and tetratonics, where on the latter we see Harper's classical training bounding her almost exclusively to a non-jazz performance. We observe her comfort in the vocals and in her interpersonal power display. Of course, to follow on, 2 times 10 to 2 and a half is the FRMA, which we have used for the melodic analysis. For the arrangements, her comfortable displayed vocal range was chosen, of course, to match harp's expected timbral behavior. We witnessed it, and even though no pattern seems to suggest harp and voice is a preferred method of arrangement on her works, there is also the interpersonal power display thing bound to expected damsel behavior from the palette of instrumentals used in the arrangement. We also bear notice to an amelioration of inherent imperfections caused by the DIY home recording process. It enthralls undertones inherent to the genre. After the arrangement comments, we see that harmony-wise, we run into literary issues due to the differences found in the consulted material. If we are to perform an interpretative nuance assessment, the first chorus and outro kind of has a problem within the 6 minor to 6 major. The elevation of emotion, the euphoria with a brighter and warmer and richer and more consonant sound, it creates a strong sense of resolution and stability to evoke hope, optimism, and positivity, surprise and interest to yield a more section on the listeners. For the penultimate chord, the use of the four diminished. Notably, we see that Harper is well acquainted with notions of ambiguity, blackness, complication, discord, edginess, flux, gloom, hesitation, intricacy, jeopardy, keenness, labyrinth, mourning, nervousness, obscurity, perplexity, quirkiness, restlessness, sadness, turbulence, uncertainty, vexation, worry, yearning, and zeal. And for the flat 7 minor at 2/1, we arrive at the core of the Roster Harper reharmonization. So what could have led him to transpose it a major third down? So Rodster might have tried a simplification, might have tried the subdominant instead of the dominant function because it lessens the pull to the tonic, might have tried to smoothen out and use a less dissonant sound for harp in a romantic song because of the stability and conventionality associated with such love songs. We think that the transcription probably was made at about 200 miles per hour, which is a quarter of the speed of sound, which might not be the greatest consideration. Miss Harper knowingly performs on a Leon and Healy style 23 pedal harp built in 1979. It has 47 strings. It weighs about 75 pounds and it is 6 feet tall. It has 7 pedals that can alter the pitch of the strings so that the pedal harp can play music in any key. So for the 2100 strings issue, the outlining for the smallest difference between a just minor third 298 cents and a just major third 408 cents is 110 cents. All shall be explained later. It yields a passable 11-tet system for note placement, which shall be discussed later. Pilioffer and Day define in music theory the circle of fifths is a tool as a way of organizing the 12 chromatic pitches as a sequence of perfect fifths. This is strictly true if we are to speak in the standard 12-tone equal temperament, therefore named 12-tet system. If C is to be chosen as the north, the sequence is C, G, D, A, E, B, G flat, D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F, and continue with the pattern from F returns the sequence to its starting point of C, and this order places the most closely related key signatures adjacent to one another. It is usually illustrated in the form of a circle, and musicians and composers often use it to describe the musical relationships between pitches. Its design is helpful in composing and harmonizing melodies, building chords, and modulating to different keys within a composition. We shall analyze the chordal progression of the tune. First chord of the song is A, followed by the A major 7 on its third inversion with A flat or G sharp, followed by the F sharp minor. Then a move to the parallel major, to the B minor, and then again a B minor added with the flat 7 in its third inversion, again similar to the A chord beforehand. A B minor 7 in third inversion, the flat 7 is relative to the B, not the flat relative to B. An E in first inversion, an E7 followed by a B minor, a C sharp, again a parallel major, F sharp minor, D, E, A7, E. Again, a shift to the parallel major in from C sharp minor to C sharp, and from F sharp minor to D minor, which is the parallel minor. All used chords in the song are as follows. It is easy to perceive that for all chords in the song, we have them in green, and all chords in the A major scale, they are in yellow. A was our first and is also our last chord and our tonic, so to speak. Again, we find the composer is well acquainted with ambiguity, blackness, complication, discord, edginess, flux, gloom, hesitation, intricacy, jeopardy, keenness, labyrinth, mourning, nervousness, obscurity, perplexity, quirkiness, restlessness, sadness, turbulence, uncertainty, vexation, worry, yearning, and zeal when she chooses not to use the third minor and the 7 diminished. When we look into then notes not played, we find out something very important left behind on purpose by Harper. Since the minor third is a skip melodically and a common imperfect consonance used to express melancholy and sadness in music, this mirrors the verbal use of the minor third. When we are to use a sadness in speech, we use communication in minor thirds sometimes. What Harper writes in between the lines is that her current relationship is coherent and close in character because it is not a skip. The relationship is harmonious and understanding. It is not an imperfect interval. And of course, it seems to be joyful and whimsical. It is not sad. From our chart of minor thirds and their relative frequencies in cents compared to the root, to the tonic of our harmony, one can, of course, consult many works to investigate similar events. Now, when we compare the just augmented second to the just minor third, there is a comma here of 41 cents approximately, and it is barely achievable in 29/10. We must point out to the footnote that clarifies that multiplying the denominators 29 and 11 barely yields the desired 319. From using just intervals in our building of negative harmony here, we are to notice these just odd separations of the minor third, the major third problem related to the reharmonization of one of the most important chords of the song. Given these, we arrive at that Hegelian process to outline the 2100 strings issue. Since her harp extends between octaves and a fifth, a substitute with those many strings would be needed in another tet tuning to account for all possible playings allowed if we are to take notice of the just intervals used for minor thirds and major thirds proponent to all arrangements of the song available on the literature. It remains puzzling so far, the momentousness of this affair, to scrutinize this number that we have proposed ourselves to perform. Of course, to then jump to the lyrical content of the matter, we must now turn to possible references that can be made from what has been written, of course, and we can take out the lyrics and quotations in the song. We can take out its themes, its myths, its metaphors, and its symbolism. Again, one can check all of the footnotes. These are the lyrics, and I'm going to read them to you. But by now, a question jumps out. What coffee methodology of brewing is chosen at Harper's house. We know it must be, firstly, doable with ease. It requires freshly ground beans. Water needs to be prepared for the coffee. A 3 plus mug volumetry size, strong brew smell. It goes well with cream and sugar, likely to be a dark roast and requires cleaning. So we go from the impossible coffee methods. She cannot be using a mocha pot. She cannot be taking a cold brew nor an espresso from an espresso machine. She cannot use a coffee bag. She cannot use instant coffee. She might be tempted, but cannot use a siphon method with brew coffee. She cannot use a Keurig. She cannot press it in an AeroPress. She cannot pour over the coffee in a Chemex or in an EVA Solo. It may be possible that she uses a Melita portable brewer. Of course, firstly, a Melita German and Hario Japanese brewer. A Kalita, also Japanese, I believe, wave brewer. A Clever brewer, a Turkish coffee method is also possible. It is more likely or more probable they have used a French press, a soft brew, a stainless steel, paperless reusable dripper core, of course, a percolator, or a fin, which is a Vietnamese type of coffee brewing. Let's now jump to analyzing the lyrics line by line. First pair, we see the preference of love over the enjoyment of caffeinated beverage as a mandatory morning ritual over the awareness of life itself. One says their favorite thing about waking up, the awareness itself that comes to a human mammal as they wake up. Is my morning cup with you by my side? So there is a preference of one over the other, right? The latter with the first, not the first with the latter, as it is spoken. It is spoken in a way, but it actually means the reverse. The reverse is very clear. So we see proactivity and invitingness and openness of equal sharing of the housework, even in the simplest forms of ritual, even in the one might say the first ritual of the day, which is you can put the water on and I will grind the beans. We are sharing our tasks. After this, an abandonment of self over what can be considered your partner's preference. You can use my favorite. You can use my mug. You can use my even use my favorite mug after we have shared the tasks and we have started our day, which again I prefer to start with you rather than coffee, but rather coffee and you. There is a self-fulfilling virtuous prophecy. Of course, we are to relate to self-inflicting mental terror from Gauch. A counterpart, again, a very interesting footnote. We note opposite the self-inflicted mental terror of Gauch's as a counterexample. For you know today is going to be a good day, you trust in your significant others, almost voodoo-like, almost magical, almost inhuman abilities to grant it because it starts with you. Rather, what has been said on the second line, that one prefers one over the other, or rather others followed with the one, or the company of one along to the other. This sixth line is the pin, or for the first pair of lines, when we are to say clearly what happens when one says one thing and is actually read in the reverse order. One asks if the necessary catalyst for surpassing our energetic barriers overall, even if we are suffering from mental health issues, one can see this as an imperative following that love and coffee as necessary catalysts for mental health issues, basically. So an imperative expletive follows as an affirmation of life. It concatenates into a romantic declaration. It may be um expletivo, right? The hint of pleasure, the senses, the overwhelming nature of our humanness is present in that addiction. If something is what gets you through, we have talked about catalysts of starting energy of chemical processes so far. We have this inebriance of thanatos disguised as eros and this hint of pleasure in what may be granted as an addiction. And what's coffee without cream? The first good question to be asked in the song, and what we solve as a created issue later. One can read many psychoanalytic works from before us. But the positive negative, this created in a novella drama of the positive negative starts. It ends in a denial of what Descartes has said centuries ago. So if we are after we think, if you don't want to know, if you do not want to think, you deny yourself. You do not say, I am not. You perform the opposite of being. I don't am is what linguistically is being built in the 14th verse. So from the 13th verse, we have this amazing reference to this amazing story. And on the 15th, it is completely denied desire as a source of. If we are to see all desire as source of suffering, or if we are to see desire as yourself in relationship to your lack, to your absence, here we deny it by completing what was missing before. So if we are not to think of coffee without cream, and you ask for cream, but you also ask for sugar, of course you would ask for sugar if you are asking for cream. It is the joke itself hidden, right? So if you do not have coffee without cream, you also do not have coffee without sugar. But coffee without cream and coffee without sugar are two completely different things. And if you reject the appearance of them, you can easily go on the ignorant path and choose one or another or none or both. But you do not choose. You deny it. You ask for it. You acknowledge the presence. You even acknowledge the presence of the absence. You know what is absent, and you know what is present. The absence of signs of bitterness and resentment, or even elitism in their relationship, you will see why forward. I'll make it just the way you like. If I am to make your cup of coffee and you like a certain way, that's okay. So if you drink coffee with cream and with sugar, you can drink any roast you'd like. There will be no sign of bitterness. If your cup of coffee starts with your romantic other, and of course your coffee is not bitter, your relationship with your significant other is not bitter, there is this absence of resentment. Referring back to the fourth note, there is a life cycle analysis to be performed here. Again, if you are to indulge yourself in pleasuring your other, the other, not a significant other. Here you are asking, is that enough? For the other, for everyone else but you. Let me pour you another cup. There is a hint of self-doubt. Of course, Williams and Harper are to play with this, to joke with this. They are great comedians in terms of not showing you what's hidden, but they acknowledge what can be hidden and what you can note as an absence. If there was no negative in the song, it would not be a positive song. It would be a negative song. It would transpire of absent negative. Negativity of the song would be absent, and that would be blaring, that would be present. With a sprinkle of self-doubt in your coffee, like a sprinkle of cinnamon, and servitude, the playfulness, even amongst an accident that might have happened. Of course, you can check out the interview to know what accident I'm talking about. It culminates in the supersede of everything that is maintenance, of everything that is day to day, that is day by day, that is the maintenance of love. There is this culmination after we have basically reached the apex of the lyrical content in this matter. If we are to see all positivity, the negativity is present, it is not absent, and we even play with what we are and what we are not saying. After everything has been said, and after everything that has not been said has been said too, we end it with a non-ultimatum, right? If there is a choice, a binary to be made from this point onwards, the necessity spoken of is not a mask. It is not a preference. It is a past, right? The present is singing about the past. It is not singing about the present. It is not imagining the future. It is singing about the past. And as the present becomes the past, it is just fine with me. That is magnificent. A quote directly from the author herself. Now we jump to some literary references that can be extrapolated from what we have read. From one adult's developed side, we have the works of Coltrane, Stevie Wonder, namely My Favorite Things, Love Supreme, Songs in the Key of Life, almost every song in the key of life. Love's in the Need of Love Today, As, Knocks Me Off My Feet, Isn't She Lovely, amazing tunes. In the opposite, we can refer to Black Flags, Black Coffee, of course, Mitski's Me and My Husband, Love Jets, Love Hard. From Stevie, lyrically, he writes as Harper in terms of speaking of everything that moves him. He does not want to be a burden on his significant other, despite of accidents, of preferences, of the love itself. It moves him beyond strength. It moves him beyond vulnerability. It moves him beyond life itself. It moves him beyond space, beyond time. Of course, the declaration of love. There are many presences here. There are many absences here. From Mitski, lyrically, she writes not in complete opposite to Harper, but as a complementary dark force. She says, it's really hard to stay in love and keep the spark. When you get married, and you're with someone for years and years, it no longer becomes about infatuation or having your heart aflutter. But the song is just about turning around and saying, this is the decision I made. And you're the person I chose. So I'm going to stick with you. We have our problems. But this is our life. And we're going to live it. And that's what it's about. Like Twin Peaks, Coffee and You the song captures a distinctive atmosphere with its focus on the morning routine, the coffee aroma, the romantic undertones. It creates a sense of calm, warmth, and nostalgia, the sense of ritual echoing Twin Peaks' exploration of small town performances. Why not? The song's attention to the morning coffee ritual, grinding beans, using a favorite mug, reflects a similar emphasis on the daily routines and simple pleasures. The romantic undertones, inspired by Twin Peaks, of course, subplots. The song incorporates elements of expressing one's warmth over a shared enjoyment of coffee. Potentially, it draws upon the emotional wells explored in the show and the quirkiness, not directly as a mirror of the eccentricities. The song's choice to liken affection to coffee and conveyed through a morning routine introduces this touch of quirkiness and uniqueness. It is reminiscent of the show's quirky characters and storytelling. And again, you must never skip the interview to understand what Harper and Williams' humor is built upon. Circling on itself, the lyrical motifs and myths of the tune, therefore, are enumerated as coffee is love. We must see that vulnerability, coffee, and we must see that the affection felt is not a weakness. It is something that is profoundly freeing. The myth of vulnerability as weakness is completely dangerous. It is vile. It is overall an emotional risk, exposure, uncertainty, yes, but it also, as coffee, fuels our daily lives. We see morning coffee as comfort. We see the coffee dates as a relationship building. We see coffee making as a ritual of care. Expanded motivation model, we see the author's expression of granted physiological safety and belonging, After it, of course, there's the affection, the esteem, the cognitive, the aesthetic realization that are argued off on the song. From the active idleness, we see the positive reinforcement of what Bataille has called in the ineffectual positivity. Of course, the ineffectual positivity embedded in the economy of rituals, the clamor of idleness at its core, a Greek favorite, of course. Please read the footnotes. A briefly upon touch topic, then the implied consent. This is a briefly touched upon topic, might be this one of a challenge in the need to consume in order to live as a citizen, to live as an actor, especially in the first world economy. Fourth, the Nietzschean nature of coffee as eros, and this opposition of eros and this suicide thanatos against the eros is this dark necessity overlooked but not ignored. Again, the absence is written off in the song, not ignored. That black coffee in itself may be a fuel for what has been said to be a desire to keep living. One may ask every day, should I have a cup of coffee or should I kill myself? Then wonder if it's a cup again, of course. The fifth, the last one, there is the soma in Huxley. This nature of coffee exposed is not somatic. Again, overlooked but not ignored is the notion that caffeine does not fit, is the notion that caffeine does not fit as a physiological mandatory long-term bodily need. Here we see Harper paints this vivid picture without the dystopian undertone that her favorite drink may be serving a wider societal death impulse, this impulse of thanatos. And it is a wonderful take from a non-Olympic that herself. At last, it is more than obvious that coffee is the void, the mythical unknown, but ever-looming present absence. Harper and her husband, from what is read, have built a structure of relationship beyond what can be referred back to passion, the gaping maw of passion. Timelessness arises from this composition due to the perceived plain availability of sensory references, right? So hot water, coffee beans, cream, sugar, tea, you can find it everywhere. The placelessness, if and only if we assume a classical lifestyle default to the composer. Interest as of late in specialty coffee, home brewing methods, coffee culture has been growing. Many people are exploring coffee not only as a daily beverage, right, but also as a hobby. This includes learning about different coffee beans, brewing techniques, and even starting perhaps a small business related to coffee. The interest also in finding meaning and purpose in life is a timeless and enduring aspect of human existence, right? It does not only speak of culture now and history now of present times. We know people seek fulfillment through personal development, meaningful relationships, spirituality, contributing to something larger than themselves. We also see being spoken in the song this thing called flexibility. Flexibility has been recognized in various aspects of life, including work, lifestyle, and personal development. Remote work trends and of course now the desire for a better work-life balance have highlighted the importance of flexibility, but we have, of course, to show insight onto critics' opinions as written, and the reception, the latter version of the tune being far more popular. For Rentar, the you know who, the you know it all, the critic of such compositions, Rentar says the artist has created a masterpiece that has left an indelible mark on listeners. Praised for her ability to evoke joy and a delightful sense of humor. The song's quality connects with a universal audience, fostering a shared experience and benefiting from a positive French, German, Japanese bias. The lyrics, reaching their exploration of vulnerability and strength, draw parallels between the profound emotion and depths of love and the indispensable nature of our lives. With its exquisite grace, the tune delves into breakfast, as a comforting source and presents the act of coffee making as a tender ritual of care, transcending mere entertainment. It emerges as a profound cultural and historical artifact, intricately reflecting and shaping cultural values, providing profound insights into historical contexts, and contributing seamlessly to the intricate, again, to the intricate artistic expression within the grand tapestry of musical creation. This stands as an enduring testament to the power of music in capturing the essence of the human experience. Experience. Our results and findings have been to see the song as constructed upon presence of positive and absence of negative. The harmony and melody serve the song well, and it is noteworthy to point out that Harper romanticizes her love life and coffee consumption habits, and that she indeed is a very skilled and knowledgeable songwriter, despite her attempts to say otherwise in interviews and overall seemingly simple structured preferences of hers. We seem to have understood how the harmonic and melodic operations amplify the chosen signs and signifiers in the lyrics. The song seems to be structured above and beyond the battalion wastefulness of positivity, pictured as slice of life. We deem that we have found but speculative evidence that shed light upon the first issue. The second issue we point to a potential solution lies in an exploration of the audacity or the non-heterodox solution. And the last issue we have deemed to be, and the last issue was solved concerning of the positive French, German, Japanese bias. At its core, the song serves as a mirror reflecting the cultural and historical values of its audience. Furthermore, the song's role as cultural and historical artifact underscores the significance as a reflection of the times. It not only mirrors contemporary values, but also provides insights into societal norms, emphasizing the profound impact that art, in this case music, can have on shaping cultural identity. The themes of vulnerability and strength explored in the lyrics contribute to a larger discourse on human emotions and relationships by drawing parallels between the emotional complexities of love and the essential nature of coffee. The song becomes a metaphor for the multifaceted aspects of the human experience. It highlights the universal need for comfort, for connection, and the ritualistic nature of daily life. The recognition of the song as a testament to the enduring power of music emphasizes its potential to capture and preserve the essence of the human experience across generations. We conclude that examining the song provides interdisciplinary insights. Musicology unveils its composition and cultural nuances. Cultural studies illuminate its role as a mirror of societal norms. Literary studies analyze its metaphorical richness. History reflects the societal attitudes. Sociology delves into social mirrors. Psychology explores emotional impact. And in marketing, it influences cultural perceptions, all contributing to a broader understanding of how music and beverages transcend borders in the context of globalization studies. For the future, we aim to develop both solutions to the proposed roster-Harper reharmonization and the strings issue. We also aim to clear any concerns resulting from the indeterminacy of the data surrounding the day gap with the reinforcement of context with Harper. In my closing remarks, I would like to thank my advisors, my supporters and peers, Bergson, Gardensmith, Pollyanna, Ramos, Wayne, Williams, as my inspiration, Bonnet, Callister Jr., Danielewski, Joyce, and Kent. We finally open after an hour of presentation. We are on time to any questions that the audience present here might have.